Hi, I'm Dave Webb. This is ComputerWorld Canada in Conversation. And yes, we will be talking about Apple's GodPad later in the show. But first, there were some more significant things on the IT front in the last 2 weeks. Oracle, for example, has announced its plan for Sun Microsystems' flagship products. And IBM has held its annual Lotusphere conference in Orlando. ComputerWorld Canada's senior writer Kathleen was there. Kathleen, what was up at Lotusphere?
Well, at the event this year, IBM was setting our expectations of what we can expect on the Lotus platform moving forward. In terms of concrete product announcements, I can't say that there were that many, but the event was more focused on IBM sharing its long-term vision for how it sees collaboration and the cloud existing in the future. It did that through various announcements. For example, there was Project Vulcan, which is a blueprint for how collaboration will evolve in the enterprise. There was also the unveiling of Lotus Live Labs, which is basically a collaborative research effort between IBM research teams and the development community. IBM also talked about the collaboration agenda, which is basically tools and best practices that it is now offering to enterprises to help them more easily integrate collaboration within the enterprise. And of course, in keeping with this forward-looking nature of the event, he talked about some things that we can expect from Lotus Connections, which is IBM's social networking software in the latter half of 2010. And those capabilities include increased mobile support, better social analytics, and more compliance and auditing capabilities.
It seemed to me that there was a lot of material about the cloud coming out of Lotusphere, but let me put this to you. A lot of IT decision makers are, let's face it, my age or older. There are actually people older than me. And they've gotten to that position by being very good at taking the right risks, not the wrong ones. And it seems to me there's an element of risk in leaving your data and apps out in the cloud that's not very attractive. Did IBM address mitigating that risk at all?
Well, Dave, cloud security was not a topic that was discussed outright at Lotusphere, but there was acknowledgement on IBM's behalf when it talked about this hybrid environment that it wants to push. And the idea is that customers will want to take a phased approach to cloud deployment for reasons including security, like you mentioned. But also another reason for this hybrid environment, which is both cloud and on-premise, the idea was that customers will want to continue to leverage those investments it already made in its on-premise infrastructure. So part of Project Vulcan that I mentioned previously included that hybrid component as part of that framework.
Last year, Oracle stunned the tech world with its purchase of hardware company Sun Microsystems. And on Wednesday, Oracle's Larry Ellison and company gave a marathon briefing on the future of Sun's flagship products. Rafael Ruffolo survived that briefing. Rafael, what did Ellison have to say?
Yeah, well, I survived it barely intact. It was quite an interesting experience. Never experienced any sort of briefing that long. But Ellison, surprisingly, was not really visible for most of it. He didn't show up until like the final hour to take some questions. Basically, the entire, if you were to say what the motivating factor of having that briefing was, it was definitely for Oracle to come out and say, Sun customers, we want you to stay on board with us and not leave over to IBM and HP. They were talking about their vision for an integrated system. They said, we had the middleware stack, we had the database stack. Now we're adding, the virtual machine stack, the server stack, storage stack, everything that Sun brings us, and it was a really integrated system that they're trying to pitch to the Sun customers.
Yeah, there has been a rush of customers away from Sun to HP and IBM. Is this message going to resonate enough to keep Sun customers on board with Oracle?
Yeah, I think so. My personal opinion is there is still IBM and HP didn't really take as much as they're claiming. If you ask IBM, what customers have you signed and taken away from Sun, they won't really throw out many names at you. So I mean, maybe they've overblown how many they've actually taken. But regardless, I think this was a good move for Oracle to do it. It really demonstrates to the customers that, we bought Sun for a reason. We're not here to, break it up, take bits and pieces. They're going to keep investing in Solaris. They're going to keep investing in Java. They're going to keep investing in their UltraSpark servers. So I think it will definitely give Sun customers some good peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. Larry Ellison really seems to have a hate-on for the cloud.
Yeah, well,
Is that just posturing, or?
I don't know. You know, he went on and on and on about the cloud. He went on a real rant. And then afterwards he said, you know, I can't be against the cloud because the cloud is all there is. Everything is the cloud, right? And then he went on about how Hotmail, Salesforce.com, these services have been around for so long, and Oracle's been there providing the technology that really runs private clouds, which he has a problem with private clouds as well. I know we've talked about that last week, and public clouds. So he's said, you know, we're in the cloud game. He just really, the term drives him crazy.
Mm-hmm. Other big news this week was, of course, Apple's reveal of its worst kept secret since the iPhone.
Yeah.
So the long-awaited Apple tablet, the iPad, half an inch thick, smaller than a magazine, a familiar but improved iPhone-like experience, and starting at $499. You're our mobile guy, Rafael. What's your general impression?
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of tuning into the iPad stuff while this Oracle Sun press conference was going on. They overlapped. Look, it's a very exciting consumer device. When people are talking about tablet use in the enterprise, that's where you get into a can of worms that we saw with the iPhone and its struggles to start off getting into the enterprise. It's no doubt a slick device. Consumers are going to want to bring it into the enterprise, but I still think that the IT managers are going to want to go to the Windows-based tablets first.
One analyst I spoke to said that one of the things that the iPad does is it really justifies the form factor of the tablet. I mean, there's no point in having a device that isn't a smartphone and isn't a laptop unless it does something better than that. And I think my impression of the experience from the iPad, it is superior at some things. Couple interesting notes. The 3G version is going to be offered on a no-contract basis in the States, with a $25 a month all-you-can-eat data plan, and it'll be interesting to see whether Apple has the leverage to make that happen in Canada when they release it here, possibly as soon as July. Apple's now really positioning itself as a mobile device company as opposed to a computer company. And Steve Jobs is claiming that they are the largest mobile device company in the world, which is also an interesting twist. So how many of these do you think Apple will actually sell?
They're going to sell tons. They're going to sell tons of this. I mean, when I was following both conferences there on the Wednesday, the funny thing was, if you went to Twitter, 8 of the top 10 trending worldwide terms had something to do with the iPad. So I mean, there's tremendous consumer interest here, and it's definitely something that will be a game changer in the tablet business. Look to see a lot of copycats as well, though. That's another thing. I mean, HP the day before sort of demoed their tablet. They're calling it the HP Slate on YouTube. And I'm sure we're going to see tons more throughout the year, but Apple, as always, has that buzz factor going for them. I don't know, and the price point also is really good. Would you buy one at that price point?
I would buy 2.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I actually checked my email at home mostly from my iPod.
Yeah.
So this would simply be a better experience. I think from an IT shop perspective, this is a device that would probably have to be handled more like a smartphone in terms of policy
than a laptop,
than a computer. Yeah, and with respect to the other Slate manufacturers, to date, the Slates and the convertibles that have come out, they've essentially been laptops that are clunky and have a hinged display. They don't do anything better than a laptop does. And I would argue that when you see something that's going to be on a Windows platform, it is essentially going to be a laptop with a different form factor. It's not going to be the new category device that the iPad is positioned as.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, it gives the IT managers, at least at the beginning, some peace of mind. You know, we worked with Windows, we're a Windows shop. We trust this coming into our enterprise. But just like the iPhone changed minds, and now I think I heard a stat like 70% of Fortune 500 companies have some iPhones rolled out to their staff. So.
Thank you very much, Rafael. Thanks, Kathleen. Thank you for watching.